Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is the beauty of beginner's mind. And this topic, of course, beginner's mind is one of the 9 attitudes of mindfulness. And this is one that I really like. It's one that I haven't covered in a while. And it comes from originally Shunryu Suzuki. So he has a book called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And I think that Jon Kabat-Zinn borrowed this idea from Shunryu Suzuki's book, because John had studied his meditation practice came from Seung San, who is this Korean Zen master. And so I think John probably had quite an interest in Zen when he was creating mbsr. So it's only natural for him to take concepts from books like Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And the idea of Beginner's Mind is quite simple. It's like, can we view this thing as if we've never seen it before? Because, and this is something from Seung San's tradition that I learned very well when I was on this retreat at Seung San Zen Center in Hong Kong, was that the idea of the don't know mind, that of course we bring in some Buddhist idea here obviously from Zen Center, is that the Buddha mind is what the Buddha mind means is the original mind, right? Is the original mind before we start to put words and thinking into it. And so what exists in that space is this kind of don't know. So when asked a question with a bunch of words, instead of answering from the bank of knowledge that we have inside of our consciousness, can we first examine it with our Buddha mind, which is like beginner's mind. It's the don't know mind. So instead of going to this well of knowledge, and also what happens when somebody asks you a question that you believe that you know the answer to, and you can't wait to say what that answer is, right? There's a kind of building up of me that happens, that I'm excited to share this information because I know this, and the satisfaction that I get from knowing something and being able to prove that I know that can be very, very satisfying. And I think the important thing to understand is that beginner's mind lets us view these things without our expert mindset. So, what's the benefit of this is that it allows us to open up to new possibilities. It allows us to connect with other people in ways that we may never have been able to connect before, because we're willing to see things in this new and different way, and maybe even be able to take on some of their perspective, because we're letting go of those ideas of what we know to be true. And okay, so you guys were asking where Frank is. Now he's scratching on the door, so I'm gonna have to go fetch him. Oh, he's purring. I wish I could put him next to the mic. You can hear. That's quite soft. Yeah. He's my guy. Hopefully he behaves while he's in here. Beginner's mind says that I don't bring all of my past knowledge and experience about Frank into this and allow my past to dictate my expectation of what's going to happen. So is Frank gonna scratch on the sofa and look like he's gonna, use my sofa as his toilet? That always shows up, honestly. Whenever I let Frank into this room, I'm always worried he's going to sit on this sofa back here, and then he's going to get my attention. He's going to scratch on it and like maybe look at it like it's his toilet, and then of course this bring, and it's really funny, right? And it brings anxiety, right? For sure. When I'm sitting here and trying to do this live event, and he's doing that. In fact, he's not, even when he's not doing that, right? I mean, I think this is the key teaching point. Even when he's not doing that, every time I let him in, my mind goes back to that memory of when he did that. There was one live event where he did that, and I'm trying to teach at the same time as like make sure that he doesn't do that. And he may not, he never did it, so he may, maybe I misread the signal. So all of this is beginner's mind, right? So first of all, in that moment, thinking that I know exactly what he's going to be doing, which he didn't end up doing. And then now and every other time that I let him into this room when I'm teaching, that anticipation of him misbehaving, even when he's like super calm and not, and purring and being nice, and he's coming over again to get patted on the head, right? That my mind always kind of wants to go to this negative thing, and this is this is the common experience of the human mind, is that we tend to have this negativity bias, that we want to, or that our mind wants to go to the negative thing for self-protection, right? It isn't a bad thing that our mind wants to go to the negative stuff. It's just because our mind is trying to keep us protected. And so, the beginner's mind starts with that awareness, of how we, hang on a second. I've got a cat hair in my mouth. Oh. How we perceive things, the awareness that this is how I am perceiving this. I am perceiving this as a negative experience, and I'm anticipating something negative to be happening. Can I let go of that understanding, that knowledge of the past, and we'll bring it back to acceptance, right? Accept that this is what's happening in my mind. This process that's happening in the mind it's easy to just kind of blow it off, but there are a bunch of little components that are happening. So accept that my mind is judging in this way, right? Going back to non-judging. Accept that the mind has gone in this direction, and then after that acceptance, can I let go of that thought that I've had, and let go of that prediction of how things are going to be now because of how things were in the past. So can I let go of that and then recenter, maybe take a breath into the present moment, and to go, okay, what's here now? What's going on now? Without all of that knowledge of what happened in the past, can I see this experience with the don't know mind, with the fresh eyes, to see it as if it were the very first time? So this really is the core of what's at beginner's mind. So it brings curiosity back online. It reduces our reactivity, because instead of reacting to old stories, instead of having anxiety about what we believe is going to happen, we're tuning into what's actually unfolding. And it starts to reconnect us with the direct experience, with the direct sensations, not even the story about the sensations. So even as we break down like what our anxiety about something feels like, instead of connecting to the story of anxiety, it's like connect to instead what's happening right now. Thank you, CC, for your donation. We often see people as the old version of what they were. We see it in our relationships. We anticipate something that is going to happen that that may not happen. This may be, can I see this person with fresh eyes instead of that expectation of who I think they are or who I wanted them to be? Beginner's mind isn't denial about the way things are, but it is an opportunity to see things once again as if for the very first time. What about ourselves? We tend to see ourselves in a particular way. We may say, I'm anxious, right? I know that in our bodies as well. I know this knee always wants to be painful. So so here's the pain. Predicting that pain to come makes it come, right? And I mean, this is an interesting thing about the meditation practice is, this whole idea of when we're meditating, when difficulty in the body shows up, instead of just using those default labels, all of that old stuff that we have, is it possible to question, what is it that I experience here? And instead of using pain, maybe using tightness. Maybe using, another word, it's a burning sensation. Believe it or not, choosing other words. This word pain is just so loaded inside of our mind. There's so much baggage with this word pain. Can I, with beginner's mind, look at my body, look at this interaction that I'm having, and see if there is, I'm sorry, just glance at the chat. We can watch as he non-judgmentally as he disrespects the sofa. We can see our own experience with fresh eyes. In daily life, let's look at things. How about the beginner's mind in daily life? When we eat something familiar, and in fact, eating in general, can we use mindful awareness when we're eating to truly experience our food? Mindful eating is one way to really bring attention into the present moment. And by the way, it helps you, it helps you manage the amount that you're eating as well, so that you're more in tune to not overeating, so that you're not just you're paying attention to what the food tastes like. You're paying attention to the feeling inside of your stomach instead of having your phone in one hand and your fork in the other as you're scrolling and eating at the same time. It's a different experience to be eating mindfully. And when we eat something familiar as if it's the first time, what's that like? What's it like to bite into an apple and really appreciate and I think this is something that beginner's mind and gratitude kind of go hand in hand, is that I see when I bring beginner's mind to what's going on in my daily life, I can't help but bring a little bit of gratitude, because I'm just able to see this with this kind of clarity of the first time. So, is it possible to walk down the same street or drive down the same street that you've driven 100 times or you've walked 100 times or 1,000 times, and to really say, bring some intention to, can I pay attention to some things that maybe I've never noticed about this walk before, that I've never noticed. Look at this this picket fence. What's the paint job look like? What's this flower look like? How many petals are there? Is there a way? And this is just some idea. Is it possible to use some technique like this to bring a fresh eyes approach? To really look with a kind of curiosity. So I'll just mention retreat. One thing about the retreat is that it's different. It's different from, Zen tradition is is from the Northeast Asia. I've been almost all of my retreat experience has been from Southeast Asia. It's the difference between Zen Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, and Theravada Buddhism, right? They're all different. They're all different styles of practice. And I guess I should also kind of mention, just as my disclaimer, is that I attend these retreats because they're what's available in my region, not because I'm a Buddhist. I do find that they enhance my mindfulness practice, even without being Buddhist. But I have these ideas of what a retreat should be like and what teaching should be like because of my experiences in Southeast Asia. And it's interesting to go to this retreat and see some things that are done differently, and to watch my mind immediately judge like what this is like. This is different, and often this is different equates to this is bad, right? I don't like this because it's unfamiliar. This isn't what I'm used to. Here's what I'm used to in Theravada tradition. Like, here's what a meditation retreat's like. Well, we don't have this structure. We don't chant for 2 hours a day. We don't. We sit with our eyes closed in Theravada retreats, whereas this Zen retreat we're meditating with our eyes open. How's that? What's that experience like? And so it really gives an opportunity to see things with beginner's mind, to see things in a different way, and to go, hey, what's it like to try this tradition on, and to see how does it resonate with me without having to look at what I think I know is true from all of my past experiences. And just to let you know, beginner's mind is not erasing history. It's not pretending everything is fine when it's not. It doesn't mean for you to put yourself in uncomfortable situations because, hey, I know beginner's mind is helpful for seeing things in a different way. I need to do that and expose myself to an abusive relationship or a situation that's uncomfortable. It's not ignoring harm or accepting unsafe situations. It's not being empty-headed, and I think that's important. So, as we go into practice, there are some ways to set up. So one is, what's here now that I didn't notice before? So that's one question you can ask, and I'm just going to paste that into the chat. What is here now that I didn't notice before? So how you can bring it into your daily life is slow down. One small action: pouring tea, breathing, brushing your teeth. Look at someone you love and notice some detail that maybe you've stopped seeing. And use your breath as the gateway. Recognize that every single breath that you take is different. And that this breath, we can examine our body, we can examine our breath in a way like we've never seen it before. So let's go ahead and get into that practice. So sit comfortably. If you like, you can allow your eyes to close, or you can keep your eyes open with a soft gaze about 45 degrees downwards. And so let's begin with the body. What's it feel like, first of all, to be here? What's it feel like for gravity to be pulling down on the body? Can you feel the supporting surface pushing back? And so curiously examining every area where the body is contacted by something else. Where we feel pressure. So I'll just, to assist you a bit, narrate where I'm feeling contact. So I can feel my meditation cushion pressing against my buttocks. And I can feel that the pressure and the way that it's contacting my right buttock and my left buttock are different. That there's more surface area of my right buttock being contacted. And then on my left buttock, although there's less surface area, I can feel slightly more pressure on my sit bone. So it's really right there. And then noticing what part of my thigh is contacting as well. So it's just a very tiny amount, just less than an inch, especially on the left. Less on the left, more on the right. And then I can feel the larger square cushion underneath the small circular cushion in contact with my legs. So touching my thighs and the pressure increasing on my knees. And then my right knee is in contact as well with this table that my laptop's sitting on. So I can feel that different sensation, that the cloth on my legs feels different from this wooden table leg. So as well, maybe your feet are contacting the floor. Maybe you've chosen to lie down and you're feeling your shoulder blades, the buttocks, the heels, whatever it is, as gravity's pulling down, just feel what that contact feels like. What's the effect of gravity on the body, and what is the sensation of the supporting surface? Just bring as much detail, because how you're sitting or how you're lying today is different from how it was yesterday. And so now on the next exhalation, letting go of awareness of the contact of the supporting surfaces and letting go of the awareness of gravity on the body, and bringing your attention to the crown of the head. And the rest of the scalp. What you're feeling today is different than what you felt yesterday. Can you feel every square centimeter of the scalp? I mean, this is the interesting thing about awareness, is you can open up, like, what can you hold in awareness? You can feel the entirety of the scalp, or you can feel that one tiny spot, and the front side all the way over to the left. You could touch it, but if you're not touching it, maybe now look at the right side. Can you bring your awareness to that same spot on the right side? Or the mirror image. It's obviously not the same spot. The mirror image of that, as if the line of symmetry, the nose, just feel the other side. And now what about the forehead? Let's start to migrate our attention down into the face. So what do we feel? So starting with the left side of the forehead. And slowly moving across. Coming to the center of the forehead. And the right side of the forehead to the right temple. So what's here? Moving down to the eyes, so starting with the left eye. Feeling the muscles around the eye. The eyelids. The eye itself. Even if the eyes are closed, can you feel what the eye feels like underneath the eyelid? And the right eye. The right eyelid. The muscles around the right eye. Now bringing awareness to the nose. First, the external features of the nose, the skin on the outside of the nose. The outside of the left nostril, the left side of the nose. The right side of the nose. And now noticing the nostrils. The air moving through the nostrils. Can you feel that? Can you notice the difference between the inhalation and the exhalation? Can you notice the difference between the right nostril and the left nostril? Even the inhalations and the exhalations may be different. Maybe air is moving more quickly through the left nostril as you breathe in, and then it's moving more quickly through the right nostril as you breathe out. So curiosity with these bodily sensations. This can really help to focus our attention in the present. It's kind of curiously wondering, what is this experience like right now? What's the temperature of the air of the inhale, and how do you know? What about the temperature of the air of the exhale? So where is it that you are determining that air temperature? And for me, it's only natural to just spend some additional time looking at the breath. Just there's so much to see here, so much to feel here in this dynamic, inhaling and exhaling. And so on the next exhale, letting go of the breath at the nostrils and bringing the attention to the mouth. So the left side of the upper lip, the middle of the upper lip, the right side of the upper lip. And the lower lip. Let's kind of make a circle if you like. The right side of the lower lip. The middle of the lower lip. The left side of the lower lip. And now bring attention to the teeth. The teeth actually do have nerves inside of them, and you can bring your attention to sensations inside of the teeth. And we won't go through each tooth individually today. Just noticing your teeth. Noticing your gums. Noticing the roof of the mouth. The tongue. The opening to the throat, the airway and esophagus. Now releasing awareness of the mouth and the inside of the mouth as we bring our attention to the chin. And the jaw, the left side of the jaw. The right side of the jaw. And now let me invite you to expand your awareness to include the entirety of the head. So noticing every sensation that you experience in your head and face. The breathing, the sensation of the skin, the inside of the mouth, sensations in the eyes, sensations on the scalp. Maybe there's tingling or itching or whatever. It's just, what's it like? What does my head feel like right now? And now see if you can expand your awareness to the entirety of the body. Noticing the arms and shoulders, the chest, the belly, the back, the pelvis, the legs and arms, and the head. So what's it like to be in this body right now, sitting here, lying here, breathing? And now I'll close this practice with 3 rings of the bell. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thanks for participating in our practice today. Feel free to stretch out or do whatever you like as we transition out of these moments and transition into the rest of our lives. How did the practice go today? And I'm especially curious, what was it like to bring the entirety of the head into awareness and then bring the whole body into awareness? What did you find? Was it, in those moments, was there a greater awareness inside of the head because we had spent so much time focusing on the head and face? Was it harder to tune into the rest of the body? Was it equally easy to see the entire body as a whole? Thanks, Caesar. Thanks, everybody. So this lesson was about beginner's mind, which is attitude number 3 of the 9 Attitudes of Mindfulness. So this is just to kind of prime you to check out the course of the 9 Attitudes. And Sybil says it was a surprise. It was a surprise because I didn't expect it. Thanks for sharing. And Rosamund says, fascinating transition to the whole head was almost sensory overwhelm. Suddenly multiple sensations. Thanks so much for sharing. I mean, this is, the idea too is, what's funny about body scan is you see how you can make a body scan be hours long. If you really want to get down to each and every small part of the body to really tune in. And honestly, I think there is benefit to really taking a long time to do body scan so that you can really become intimately familiar with what's going on with your body. And it is really interesting how it trains awareness. And I won't go into all the scientific information about what happens when we're focusing attention. What happens in the brain when we focus attention on various parts of the body. It is fascinating what's going on. Rita says, much more tension in the head than I realized, which pointed out I must release. Thanks, we're gonna be doing more of the Nine Attitudes. So I'm just gonna keep going on the Nine Attitudes to just to keep focus on the course for a while longer before we switch to a different topic. So next week, like I said, tomorrow I'm leaving for this. I'm going to the States for a week, so I'll be back on the following week to continue this. So I haven't posted any of those events yet, but I'll be doing that today. So you can look out for the next events that are related to the Nine Attitudes. So do check those out. And yeah, Rosamund says, yes, the close focus on what you're sitting on was amazing. Let's do more of that for sure. Yeah, thanks for being here today, and thanks everybody for being here. Yeah, like I said, I'll be back in a little over a week, so look forward to seeing you then. And I'm looking forward to seeing my family. It's going to be great. And thanks for the well wishes. I can't wait to see. I'm thinking about sending the 3-year-old into my mom to just like a surprise, and what she'll do. But anyway, I can let me know if you want to hear about that story when I come back, and I can share it with you. Let's close our practice with our with well wishes to ourselves and to everybody that's here. So follow along if you like. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. And may all sentient life, everyone around the world, wherever you are, wherever they are, wherever we are, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day or evening. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.